Good evening. Welcome to the class of 2025 post-secondary night. My name is Michelle View and I am the Director of Guidance, and I am so excited to welcome you here tonight. 4 years ago, I welcomed you to our 8th grade open house when you were bringing your students here for the first time and starting to explore what Andrew has to offer. And tonight, what we're going to do is give you the keys and the tools to help prepare you and your students for what After Andrew Life has to offer and all of the different opportunities that are there so that your students can pick the best selection for them. So we have a wonderful panel this evening that will be going over our presentation. Just some housekeeping. We will be recording the entire presentation, so if you have friends or family that missed the presentation, that will be recorded. It'll be posted on our Google Classroom as well as sent out. The presentation will also be posted for your reference as well as handouts. At the end, we will do a general Q&A. Our goal is by 6:40 to get to our Q&A. At 6:45, it does start our 0-hour open house, but we'll do general Q&A, and then after that session throughout the evening in our College and Career Center on the 2nd floor, all of our counselors and college and career counselor will be available for any questions you have, any specific individualized questions you have for your student, and you can always reach out to them via email. So, without further ado, thank you again for joining us, and I will turn it over. Our panel this evening, we have Rebecca Manzella, school counselor, Lakeisha Kaiser, college and career counselor, and Ann Lawrence, school counselor. Take it away.
Hello, everyone. As Michelle View said, my name is Becky Manzella, and I'm one of the school counselors. And our goal for tonight is to ensure that both our parents and our students are well informed of the post-secondary pathway that their student has selected and the process that must be followed to get them there. Tonight, we'll spend a little bit of time introducing you to our guidance team, talking about where your students are in the process, discussing the School Links platform, the college application process, the dreaded how to pay for college, and upcoming important events and dates, as well as the Q&A that Ms. View just talked about. So before we dive into where your students are, I'd suggest that we take just a moment for this little cutie who headed off to kindergarten last week. This is the daughter of Erin Villette, another one of our amazing school counselors. I am a fellow parent of 3 teenagers, and my middle daughter is a senior this year, so I am right in the thick of it with all of you. We share the experience of watching our babies grow up and the bittersweet feeling of where all that time went. 12 years ago, much like Aaron and his wife did just last week, we sent our class of 2025 off to kindergarten. Their schools provided us with a list of things needed for them to be successful. Back then, it was much easier. It was crayons, glue sticks, and maybe a little change of clothes in a Ziploc bag. This is exactly what we're doing tonight. But we're not giving you a list of supplies, we're giving you the framework that you need for successfully transitioning your senior into the post-secondary world of 2025. We understand that the amount of information that we're going to share with you tonight and in the coming months is going to feel very overwhelming, especially if this is your first time, or even if you've navigated through with an older child. The packet you have includes a month-to-month calendar to help keep your family organized and on track over the coming months of senior year. We want you to know that you're not doing this alone. So here is your dedicated guidance team. We're here to support your student. Also inside your packet, there is a sheet of QR codes, and this is the easiest way for your students to make an appointment to see one of us. Okay, so where are we in this process? It's only the beginning of the 2nd whole week of school, and we have already made contact with our seniors twice. This QR code on the slide here will take you to a video that all seniors watched in advisory last week. It's also posted in their Google Class of 2025. Over the last 2 days, we visited with senior advisory classes in person, and we discussed the next steps in School Links, the Common App, the FERPA waiver, updating their profile and resume, deciding their post-secondary plan, conducting research and credit checks. The next steps for our students include looking at their final list of schools, submitting admission applications, requesting all of their supporting documents. This is going to include their letters of recommendations and transcripts from the school, and researching different ways to pay. So here's the District 230 graduation requirements. I'm not going to read this whole list to you, but you should know that the counselors have been busy doing our credit checks on all of our students. Students are aware of academic and graduation requirements, including 25 service learning hours. I only point that one out because somehow that one still seems to sneak up on some of our seniors. Additionally, some colleges and universities may have higher entrance requirements than our graduation requirements. We would have discussed this with all of our students when we met one-on-one during course registration back in January for this current school year to make sure the colleges they were interested in, that they were meeting all of their goals. So pathways is a word that you're going to hear a lot. There are several pathways available for our seniors, starting with two-year college. Some students are going to attend community college. As most of you know, ours in the area is Moraine Valley. Students can complete an associate's degree there or earn credits to transfer towards a four-year institution. Many of our students will choose to attend a traditional four-year college or university and pursue a bachelor's degree. Some of our students graduating may enlist in the military and potentially access educational benefits after service through programs like the GI Bill. Graduating seniors may enter the trades or a vocational program to acquire specific skills and training, career training. Some students may enter the workforce after high school, seeking employment and gaining practical experience. And some students may take a gap year between high school and college to travel, work, volunteer, compete in various sports, or explore other interests before continuing their formal education. So how do our seniors use SchoolLinks? Students, by this point in their time with us here at Andrew, know how to use SchoolLinks as a research tool. It provides detailed information about colleges and universities, as well as other post-secondary pathways, helping students make the most informed decision about their future. When students update their user profile within the system, they can designate their post-secondary pathway, and it'll help them generate a resume. The application manager within the SchoolLinks platform allows students to manage submitted college applications, request transcripts, and letters of recommendation. And this is where Ms. Kaiser is going to take over and give us a more detailed look at that.
All right, good evening. As you know, I am the College and Career Counselor, and I have met with several of your students between last year and this year to help prepare them for the college application process, going into their trades, or if they're potentially going into military, depending on their pathway. So how does SchoolLinks work, right? So our students right now should be finalizing their list of potential colleges that they would like to apply to, or updating us with their career choice or union specific programs that they're interested in so that we can get them on their way. So I'm not sure if you started having those conversations, but some of your students have several schools listed on their lists. And SchoolLinks allows them to divide those lists up so that it can be more manageable when you're trying to research and figure out which option works best for you. So in SchoolLinks platform, we've helped the students to divide those up into categories that are their likely options, their target schools, and their reach schools. This helps them to organize their supplementals, get their academics in order so they can fit the requirements for those universities. As Ms. Mazzella mentioned, some of the requirements may be different from what we require for graduation here at VJA. So we wanted to make sure that these students are organized in their list so that we can make sure they have everything that they need. We did go into classes this week and last week to talk with your students to prepare them for this. So this platform should be already set up based on their choices. So a lot of students have questions about how to apply, and this is where we are. We are at the application portion, right? So just as a note, like transcripts and other supplementals will be ready to be submitted after Labor Day. I know that we have some students that have been very excited about the process and have already started their applications. But we have to wait till those transcripts are finalized from summer work to make sure that they have the most up-to-date information in GPA and other course reportings that will be required in their application. So you will hear your students talking about Common App and also talking about direct application. So students have two ways to apply. Most schools do not have a preference which way you apply, but these are the options. With Common App, that links directly with School Links so that we can manage their applications. Students are able to apply for more than one university using one application, and then they can apply to those schools. Direct application, they'll go onto the school's website and apply directly through them. Good thing about School Links, although we do link with Common App, School Links will allow students to manually add the schools that are not found in Common App so that we can still support them by sending their supplementals, which are their transcripts and letters of recommendation. It's very important that all of your students complete their FERPA waiver, which was mentioned early in the presentation. This waiver allows us to submit those supplementals to the particular institution that your student is applying to, whether it's a trade program, a scholarship, or university, requesting transcripts, letters of recommendation. They could be requesting a resume. Any supplemental material, we need to have the FERPA waiver completed because that gives us permission to share your students' information. All right. When your student completes their list in School Links, they will indicate the schools that they're applying to. That directly requests a letter of, requests their transcripts to be submitted and opens up the letter of recommendation portal so that we can submit those letters of recommendation. We have went through that application manager with them, so all of your students should be set up with the application manager. If they are not set up, then they can come make an appointment with myself or their counselor, and we can get their application manager set up so that we have everything linked so that they're able to, one, submit the transcript request forms, and then also it will automatically request their mid-years and then their final transcript once they've decided their option in May. For students that are participating in sports or other programs, they can also request transcripts and other information to be sent through School Links as well. Letters of recommendation. So over the summer, I have received plenty of emails from your students requesting letters of recommendation. We have an official process for students to request those letters. All of the students have received information on how to do that, but just so you can have those conversations with them, we're asking that they formally ask their teacher, or if it's someone outside of the school, just ask them to write that letter of recommendation. Give them 2 to 3 weeks notice when that letter is requested, and then they can go into School Links and officially request that letter. If you are providing a student with a letter of recommendation, maybe from your employer or a community service or something outside of the school, if they're applying through Common App, students have the ability to request that recommender directly through Common App, and then Common App will submit that with their application. So students do have this information, and then you will get the information as well when we submit, when we upload the presentation. Once a student has requested a letter of recommendation, that will go in our portal, and they are able to use that letter for multiple schools. So a lot of students have questions about that. They don't have to ask the same teacher 10 times to write a letter. That letter will already be in the system, and students will be able to upload that to their application. Test scores, that has been also a big talk over the summer. A lot of schools after COVID went test optional. Some of those schools have changed. We have to just make sure that we're looking at the updates on the school websites, and we can also do that in Common App because it will pull up all the details that the school is requiring. If a student is submitting a SAT score, they will go directly to College Board and sign into their account, and they're able to submit those requests. And that is the same thing for ACT. The test scores will not be listed on your student's transcript, so keep that in mind. They can self-report a test score, but they will have to officially go to these two platforms to request that score to be submitted. If you have a question whether or not your student should submit that score, feel free to have a meeting with myself or their counselor. We can kind of go through that process with you and outweigh the options. If you have students that are going more specific to, like, say, College of Nursing or direct admits to certain programs, that SAT score or ACT score may be vital to them getting selected for that program. So we can talk about that and figure out what's best for your student. So next, we're going to move to ways to pay, and everybody loves this conversation, right? After we apply, what's the next step, right? So we're going to take this over to Ms. Lawrence, and she will talk about ways to pay. Thank you.
I'm shorter than these other two ladies. So of course I get the difficult part at the end here. So there are kind of three ways that we like to break this up as far as paying for if you're doing a trade school, Moraine Valley, a four-year college, or even another two-year college like JJC. I know if some of our community college doesn't have the program that your student is looking for, they can go to another community college. But the biggest ones are financial aid, scholarships, and then just having those family conversations and planning ahead. So the first thing is the FAFSA. This is a graduation requirement in the state of Illinois. Everyone has to complete the FAFSA or the FAFSA waiver. We are going to have a night for this on October 9th, so I don't want to go into this in too much detail because it can get very, very complicated. But just so you know, October 9th is our Ways to Pay night, where we're going to talk about a lot of these different things. And then also what to do as far as creating the FAFSA ID and how to submit your information. So October 9th, I'm going to say it again, October 9th. So one of the things that you can do right now is you can create your FSA ID. So that is your individual ID to log in to fill out the FAFSA. You have to do it as the parent, and so does your student. You actually have to have two separate FSA IDs, and they will connect through the FAFSA portal. It does take time. It doesn't happen kind of right away. The other thing I would like to note is that we did have some issues last year where students created the FSA ID and then started filling out the application already, and it turns out they were actually filling out the application for the previous year. So just do the FSA ID first and then wait until the actual FAFSA for the following year opens. As far as scholarships go, there's three kind of boxes we put them in, right? We have national, merit, and our local scholarships. So national scholarships you can apply to at any time. There's a lot of them open right now. These are competitive and they're based on the number of applicants. So we encourage students to apply for multiple of these scholarships, not just one. You can build scholarships. They stack on top of each other. So you don't have to just say, oh, well, I got this one for 1,000 and this one for 500. I guess I'll take the 1,000. No, you can absolutely take them both. Merit scholarships, those are awarded based on your academic excellence. So a lot of those are based on your grades, your GPA, SAT, ACT scores, things like that. It could also be based on talent. Sometimes those are offered for a variety of clubs, sports, that sort of thing. So there'd be achievements within those areas. And then we have our VJA local scholarships that open on January 27th. Those are scholarships that are offered only to people in the area, right? So they would either be only offered to students here at VJA, which reduces that pool of applicants and makes it a lot more likely that your student would receive that receive that money, as well as just kind of local, like there's some ones that are specific to Tinley Park or to Orland Hills. So pay attention to those. Your students would apply for those directly through us here on campus as well, so we make it very, very easy for them to apply. Family conversations are going to be the biggest part of paying for what comes next, right? Because your students need your input and they need your experience. You've done a lot of this before, right? You chose what to do with your life and how you were going to pay for it. And your students need your advice on how they're going to do these things as well. So they need to have conversations about what's realistic, right? Ms. Kaiser had mentioned earlier about all of these students who may have 20, 30, 40 colleges in their list. Well, there's an application fee for every one of those 20, 30, 40 colleges, right? So having a conversation about what's realistic and are they really going to want to go to all of those schools? And how many schools are they going to be willing to pay for the application fee, right? As well as things like comparing costs, right? Do you want your student to maybe start out somewhere cheaper and transfer somewhere else? Or is their goal going to be accomplished by staying closer to home or going further away? Do you want them to get in-state tuition, or would you prefer they go to a private school? These are conversations that you'll need to have individually, as well as things like paying for it through the military and other options. So this is something where you would need to make a plan as a family as to what options you have available to you and what options your student has available to them. We do have support and resources here on campus for you and your family. The College and Career Center, which is where Ms. Kaiser's office is, allows for college visits. So we have colleges and universities that bring their representatives here to speak to our students. The great thing about having them here is two very specific items. One is sometimes they bring fee waivers with them that will help cover the cost of those applications, as well as the person coming is the first look at those applications. So they're the first person in line. They know exactly what they want to see on an application, and they can have that conversation with your student and then remember your student when they see that application because they met face to face. We also have career visits coming in, so that way students can actually meet with someone in the career they're interested in and determine if that really is something they want to do based on the information they receive, but it's also a networking opportunity for them. So they can meet with an individual within that career field, and either if they're going into the career field right away, now they have a person, a network that they can work with, or they have an opportunity to build that network until after they graduate, right? They also do application support for colleges, FAFSA workshops, and meetings in the College and Career Center. You can meet with Ms. Kaiser as well. And you can always send her an email, give her a phone call, and she can help you out as well if you feel like you're kind of struggling with this process. Not everyone went through this process themselves, right? We also do individual meetings. So those are going to be starting for us as counselors in about a week. We're going to be meeting one-on-one with every single senior and make sure that they are on track, that they have an idea of what they want to do, and how we can get them there, right? And then we also have a lot of events coming up. We have newsletters we send out. Please pay attention to social media. We'll be putting out information there as well about scholarship opportunities, about college visits and things like that. The most things that we put out via social media, we also will try to put out on Parent Square through emails, our webpage, and School Links. Students can actually sign up for a lot of these college and career visits through School Links directly. So these are kind of the big things that are coming up next. August 27th, we're having a post-secondary parent, oh, that's tonight. Oh my gosh, what am I doing? Why is that on here? Hi everyone, you're here. Thanks for coming. Just making sure you're paying attention. No. Sorry, September 12th. So that's going to be a Trailblazers meeting. Trailblazers is for our students who are planning on going away to college, but their parents did not go to college. And so they may not be able to necessarily have the experience in that area to pass on to their students. September 25th is our post-secondary fair. So that is for students. It's here on campus during the lunch hours. We actually bring in colleges, careers, trades, you name it, for students to kind of walk around and visit. October 9th, I'm going to say it again, is our Ways to Pay Parent Night. And then November 1st is our priority deadline for applications. I know that seems really, really soon, but that is kind of our goal for most students to have their applications in for what they plan on doing next. So these dates are actually in your packet that you received. So there's kind of separated by student and parent and student dates. So there's things that are specific to students that'll be happening here on campus while they're in school. And then there's items in there for parent and student dates that you can come to together. Things like the FAFSA will be opening on October 1st. That is something that you would be working on with your student together. So after this, like we said earlier, we will be up in the College and Career Center if you have any student-specific questions for us that you need answered. But there's also the Class of 25 Google Classroom. It's called the Guidance Classroom that we would love to have everyone in here in. Well, that's the last one. I thought there was one more after this. Oh, well, I thought there was a Q&A one. So instead, I would just like to open this up to questions. We can ask general questions here. If you have anything that's very student-specific or kind of specific to your own situation, we can always answer that upstairs when we're there.